You have to start it. You saw the title of the episode. You know what's about to happen. And speaking of, I got to get ready. Hold on here. We have a very special guest. So why not present myself in the most appropriate way humanly possible? All right, now I properly represent the Lollipop Guild, and I'm ready to get this episode started. But I'm going to need my producer, so I should call him. Nathan!
Who rang me?
I did!
Can't you read?
Read what?
The notice!
What notice? I'm a munchkin. I'm too short to read.
It's in the text.
Oh, phone out of order, please knock. Oh, sorry.
That's more like it. Now state your business, Dan.
Nathan, we have to start the show, man. These bits keep getting more.
I mean, it's a Wizard of Oz bit, Dan. A Wizard of Oz.
Look at, I'm a living Wizard of Oz. We're good. We doubled down. I like it. I like we started.
Yeah.
We started doubled down. So
I think it's very important.
We should follow up with our yellow brick guest. See what I did there? See what I did there? See what I did there? From the OZVlog itself, it's Tori. Tori, welcome.
Oh my gosh, Dan! Have you paid your membership dues for the Lollipop Guild? That's the question.
Yeah, I haven't eaten a lollipop in a decade. I'm just at a point now where my obesity is like, all right, you need to take your sugar in where, like, specifically, and not just like direct. You don't mainline it off a stick. You can mix it into cakes and things. You know what I mean?
You don't have a big lolly. You don't have a big lolly
no,
like
man, I don't even
like
buy
in Looney
them for
Tunes.
My kids. I don't even buy them for my kids.
Case?
No,
You got to have a lolly in a case.
I have Minnie Mouse ears. I guess that can kind of. There we go.
Lolly-esque.
Tori, I like to dress up. I'm sorry.
I love it. I'm so here for the passion. This is dedication right here.
Yeah,
I have to.
The thumbnail is created.
I'm going to wear this to the
happy.
sing-along on Christmas Day to the theater.
Oh my gosh!
I have the pants and the shorts and everything. And keen Oz historians like yourself, Tori, might know that I'm currently wearing the wig of the green Lollipop Boy, but I have the plus size men's costume of the red Lollipop Boy. And the red Lollipop Boy was out of stock. It has a cute little heart. He's got like the heart mohawk. He's got the aging middle age. What's going on with those munchkins? Anyway, Tori, you're a secret genius, and I have a lot of respect for you. And you're like a really great like working like test case. Like if a professor wanted to like do like a lesson on social media, marketing and content creation, because you, like me, mined into a niche of things. And, you know, everyone likes, people have been loving Wizard of Oz since it was racist at a Broadway musical in 1902. You know, we've just been mainlining the Yellow Brick Road, and it's evolved and it's changed. And there's always been fandoms of Yellow Brick Road, you know, but TikTok didn't, like, TikTok like opened its doors and no one ran in there quick to be the Wizard of Oz chick. And like before we were all even wicketing, before anyone even cared. Like, we were like, you know, 15, 16 years post-Wicked on Broadway? No one was thinking about Wicked anymore. You know what I mean? But you got in there on the ground floor, and you built up the brand.
I'm always thinking about Wicked.
Yeah, we know. Tori, we know. We know you're always thinking about Wicked. So I have a lot of respect for the fact that, like, you just authentically, like, planted your feet in your own fandom and then blossomed. And I think that that's cool because it's kind of what I did. I was a theater kid. I loved costumes. I loved behind the scenes stuff. And I just planted my feet in that. And my brand grew. And you did the same thing before anyone cared about Disney parks, you know, before anyone cared about Wizard of Oz again, before its big boom, you know. And I think that that's kind of great. I love when authentic creators like explode, you know. So
that's one of the lovely things about the Oz fandom. It's been around for 124 years. So even when it's not in mainstream culture, there's always a group of very dedicated fans that's always out there doing stuff. So even though we were kind of under the radar before, now Oz is right there in the spotlight, and it's so exciting.
It is really exciting. And like it feels all fresh and new again. But also it weirdly feels like, and I don't know if you're getting this, but it feels like Gen Z and Gen A just haven't watched Wizard of Oz. And I mean, because there's just been an inundation of content in their life. Like they've just been like, it's just been wave upon wave of content, you know? So who needs to go back to 1939? But like, it's crazy to me how many people are like bizarrely sleeping on Oz lore. And like, they need you, Tori. They need you.
You know, it's funny. I've gotten so many messages from young people saying, I'm going to go watch The Wizard of Oz now, so that they felt prepared for Wicked. Yeah. And once they do that, then they're like, wait, there's a book? And now we have a whole generation of people discovering Oz for the first time. And that's why these remakes and reimaginings are important. Yeah. Otherwise, it just becomes an old story that we forget about. It only takes a couple generations.
No, right, exactly. It doesn't take long. It doesn't take long for it all to... When did you first see Wicked?
I saw Wicked in 2006 for the first time, but the day that original Broadway cast recording came out, I was there. I was listening. I was gleaning things from the story.
Okay, so wait. I have it right here. I also saw Wicked for the first time in 2006. And I had
Did you really?
Yeah, Jennifer Lauren Thompson and Shushana Bean were my pair. Were they your pair?
I had Shushana Bean and Megan Hilty.
What?
So yes.
Whoa, I'm jealous.
We both had Shushana.
Yeah. Oh, Shushana is my girl. Shushana is the best. I saw Shushana.
She was amazing.
God, I'm embarrassed to say this. I saw Shushana Bean, and like this was like 5 times when she was in Waitress. I saw it 5 times. She was so good in Waitress.
So good.
She was the best Jenna. I'm sorry. This is not a Shushana Bean
Nothing
episode.
to be sorry about.
But okay,
you know what? It could be. Shushana Bean appreciation moment.
Truly. She's so like, and what's so interesting about. Let's just have a Shushana moment, actually. Let's do this. Because you're actually the person I can finally talk to about this, right? Because, like, Shushana came in, and for the longest time, for people who don't understand, like, musical theater, when you're, like, the modern major general or whatever, like, and that guy dies or retires or whatever, and it's your turn to play the part, you just do it the way he did it. Do not think that it's your job to come here and do new things. You're an actor, you idiot. Just show up and read and sing the thing and don't do, you know? But Shushana came into town, and I feel like, at least for me, it feels like the first time someone stuck a moon flag in the sand to be like, art is personal, and my voice is different than Nadel Nazim's, and I want to do different things. It became like a thing then for Elphabas to like, and I thought that was so cool. Am I crazy? Did she do that?
No, you're not crazy. Wicked actually is one of those rare shows where actors can really kind of put their own stamp in a mild way. Obviously, they're not changing dialogue, but there's room for interpretation. And whenever a new Elphaba and Glinda come in, the flavor of the whole show changes. And it's so fun to watch.
It does. It might go from an Earl Grey to like a blueberry. You know what I mean? Like it's just like that stack of teas you see in the corner of a diner that no one ever touches. But they're all different colors, you know?
They're too expensive, Dan. They're too expensive.
No one pays for an expensive tea bag at a diner. Yeah, that's not happening. That's not happening. What was like when you saw it? What was your memory from the show? Like, what is the thing that you like still think about from your first time seeing it?
Honestly, it was one of the most magical days. My sister is a year older than me, and she had just gone off to college, and she surprised me for Christmas with tickets. So I got to go into the city with my big sister.
Well, you literally won short
college
date.
Friends. Why we won short date so hard. We went to a tourist trap lunch, and we saw the show. We were in the second to last row because we were young and poor, and it was like the most magical day of my life. It was the most amazing, incredible. We were linking arms and crying. And so when I got the opportunity to see the movie at an early screening, I brought my sister with me as my plus one, and we had that experience all
sweet.
Over again.
You have ownership of it, just like Ariana, you know? Did you change your name to see the movie too? That would have been sweet. No, everyone has that original connection. I remember my parents took me, they got me birthday presents, likely very confused about who and what I was becoming as an 18-year-old. Take me to Wicked. My dad slept through the entire second act, and he snores. And so it was a constant battle to keep him like breathing through his mouth.
Well, Dan, I hate to break it to you. Lots of people kind of sleep through that second act.
No way.
No.
Believe it or not, a lot of people leave after Act 1 because they think that defying gravity is the end. It's so epic.
Ew.
So a lot of people will be like, wait, I left too early. There's a whole other part.
I get it. Some people just want a tight 90-minute musical, and the first act of it's like Into the Woods. Like the first act of Wicked really could be its own junior production, for like high schools.
Yeah,
it's just stop it there. You know what I mean?
It's a complete narrative.
I remember that in, I think it's in the beginning of, the second act in, like the Good News reprise, that they, they shoot like streamers into the audience for the number. Like she's dead, or good, whatever it is. Thank goodness, and one of the streamers, when I saw it, got picked up like by God and the air conditioning. And it drifted its way and landed on the monkey wire that went across the orchestra. And I was in the front row of the balcony. And so like a stray forehead hair, for an entire second act, I had to watch the single little yellow strand of paper just dangle gently in the breeze. Yeah, someone with ADD, it was really punishing second act, but what a great musical. What an incredible musical.
I'm surprised you didn't bring your theater fan. We all bring our theater fans just in case.
Your theater fans?
Yeah, you take the fan and you blow it to make sure you get...
It's so funny you say that.
That theater is so large, you'd never get to it. And by the way, for your fans who haven't seen it yet, on Broadway in the Gershwin Theater, front mezzanine is the best seat in the house.
Oh,
so
absolutely. Yeah. Let's like take a moment to acknowledge the fact that your poor person seats, which by the way, as a poor starving artist,
we're still awesome.
I'm still buying to this day. I'm just a YouTuber, guys. I'm not Mr. Beast. You know what I mean? I'm no different than the clown you see peddling on the streets. And you got to respect the nosebleeds in Broadway. It's not a bad, you see choreography better. You see set changes. You see like the interaction. You just see the show differently. It's kind of nice. I like it.
The Gershwin uses so much of the airspace, so much of that theater is used in the action that there's actually no such thing as a bad seat. But, we had the student tickets, so we were all the way up there.
Love them. Have you ever won the Wicked lottery?
I have, exactly one time.
Me too. Did you get the button?
Yes. Oh my God. Yes,
oh my God. Me too. I'm unpacking all of my. I'm on my hunt for the Wicked button because I'm like, this button. I'd be like the cock of the walk if I was wearing this button. Like in public these days. Because everyone wants a Wicked. So I remember the button. It is a very different show seeing it from the front row versus the back row, isn't it?
History will stare into your soul. If you accidentally catch the eye of the flying monkeys, they will glare at you. They'll find you. And this happened to be on a day when I had just met Kristen Chenoweth at a separate thing. And I embarrassed myself badly.
We got to talk about that.
How did you embarrass yourself? Tell us this horrible story.
Says
the man wearing this terrible wig.
I can't go into too many details because this project is still being worked on. However, we had just interviewed her for this project. And I was an associate producer sitting in the back, not supposed to say a word. And she was the most delightful, lovely, incredible human. Everything you see on television, that is what she is. She brings this effervescent energy the minute she walks in the room.
Yeah.
But I was terrified. And I had called my sister on the train on the way there. And I was like, what am I going to say? What am I going to do? And she's like, you know what? You should break the tension. You should talk about something else. You should tell her how much you love her as Miss Noodle on Sesame Street. And I was like, Alexandra Rose, this is my one chance. I'm not going to talk about Sesame Street the one time I get to talk to Kristen Chenoweth.
Cool,
what do you think flew out of my stupid mouth when I shook her hand in absolute terror? I was like, I love you as Miss Noodle on Sesame Street. And she looks at me and she goes, well, I get that a lot.
Yes, you do, ma'am. I bet you do.
So
that is Amazing. I once met Andrea Martin on the streets of New York, and I complimented her on a musical she did very early on in her career. And she was like, honey, you were 3. And she walked away.
So I left that moment thinking, I need to do something now to calm my nerves. I'm going to just go throw my name in the Wicked lottery. And wouldn't you know, that was the day that I...
Whoa, she blessed you. She blessed you with the secret blessing.
I got blessed by Glinda herself.
Did you tell Ariana and Cynthia that story by chance?
No.
Okay. I'm sure you only had like 7 minutes with them, and you had to like rush through.
It was quick.
Yeah.
It was quick and wonderful, and they are just the loveliest humans.
And it's so nice they held space
so
for
sweet.
you. It's so great that they were holding space.
They did, and I held space for them. We were all holding space.
Their media campaign was one of the most fascinating things. I can't wait for for 2 things. I can't wait for the video essay that compares the media campaign for part 1 versus part 2. And just to see like what the vibes are, because I feel like part 1 was them catching up from starting off on a really bad foot with Cynthia's posters situation. And then everything bizarrely felt inauthentic to me moving forward. But that's just me. So I'm very interested. And then like, I'm interested like 10 years later for someone to just look at the entire marketing of the movie and like talk about it. I love all the future YouTubers. I salute you. Or whatever it is, we're YouTubers, whatever we're doing in 50 years.
I'll tell you that they were genuinely kind, and we were not scheduled to interview them. And we were waiting to interview Ethan Slater and Marissa Bodie, and they have been watching along with all the Oz fans on social media. And so I saw Ariana Grande out of the corner of my eye, and I turned to my friend Tiffany. I was like, oh my gosh, look, it's Ariana Grande. By the time I turned back, she was running at a full gallop to give us hugs and say hello. And Cynthia Erivo did the same. And they were like, so we'll see you later, right? And we were like, unfortunately, your schedules didn't allow, but it was so lovely to meet you. And they immediately said, we're going to fix this. And even though they had not had a break all day, they carved out time to talk to us.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, truly. And they didn't have to. I'm a nobody.
Yeah, we truly are. Us internet content creators are true. We are just like those, when you see those people in Times Square, like being like on TikTok, being like living NPCs. We like, I hate to say this, but all of us are that. We just do it at home. You know what I mean? Like in our own, and we stretch it out a little bit. We're not like living PCs for 7 hours at a time, but if you add it up, we're that. I hate to break it to everybody, but we're all that. We're all that. We're all just clowns shouting into the ether, and then eventually Amazon gives us a game show and we, allow terrible things to happen on the set. But again, no one wants to be Mr. Beast. You know what I mean? Like I'm happy. I'm happy being here. No,
truly, but when you're sitting there next to like large affiliates, like large people,
Al Roker's next to you.
You know what I mean? You've been there, I'm sure. And you're having this moment where you're like, how did this happen?
Oh, I do have those moments. I do have those moments. It's like, no, does anyone know how I got in here?
Really.
Well, it's fake.
And I'm still pinching myself.
It's fake it till you make it, but then you make it.
It is.
Yeah.
And then you make it.
And then you make it.
But they were so genuinely kind to make a moment for us, because we are just hardcore Oz fans who wanted to share that with other hardcore Oz fans. And they didn't have to do that. So I will live in eternal gratitude for that.
Yeah, no, 100%. That's amazing. Did their portrayal, I'm interested. Did their portrayals of the characters, since we're talking about them, did it change? Because like everyone goes into the musical like, oh, I'm an Alphabet girl, I'm a Glinda girl, I'm a whatever. Did you change on the other side of the movie experience, seeing it a couple times? Are you different now than what you thought you were? Because a lot of the Wicked chicks that I know, including my girlfriend, are now suddenly like by Wicked like they don't know what character they are now. They went in there like they were certain. It's like, oh, I am an Elphaba, and they're leaving like, oh God, maybe I'm a Glinda. Did it happen to you?
I'm in my Glinda era. Yeah, I'm in my Glinda era.
Okay,
right
okay.
I grew up, when I was growing up, I felt more like an Elphaba, but as an adult, I feel more like a Glinda.
Okay, is it millennial women in their as they're like, do you age?
You can say
into
it.
Glinda?
It's okay.
Do you age into Glinda? No, I'm saying like because Glinda is like put together and Elphaba's more grunge and rebellion. You know what I mean? And so are we all ascending from Elphaba's into Glinda's? You know, is that our path?
I think the truth of the matter is, and the true message of Wicked is that nobody is one or the other. We are all a healthy mix of both.
Right.
And there's no such thing as all good or all evil.
Right.
You know, that's really the whole point. We're all shades of gray. So I think
wow, you gave me the exact
looks like
same
she
answer.
has it all together.
Yeah, you gave me the exact same answer as my girlfriend. She's like, I'm a little bit of both. I think that's what the movie teaches. We're all just a little bit of both. And it's like, nah, it's black and white, baby. You got to be one or the other.
So we're Ozpan. We're
Ozpan. There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that I could like put this up like Elvis Munchkin. That's nice. Okay. Speaking of, let's get into the movie because I want to know what are your favorite let's talk about the differences. You know what I mean? Let's get spicy because I think there were good differences and I think there were bad differences.
Dan, before we start on this, I think it's very important that we create a spoiler zone and we just say that we're like, this is going to probably get spoilery for part 2.
This movie almost has $1 billion at the box office. Everyone's seen it, Nathan. Everyone's already seen it. It's like talking about the Titanic and being like,
I know.
Don't let everyone know how it ends.
I'm just saying, we're going to get spoilery.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Spoiler warning.
Spoilery.
Sure.
Now you know.
Sure.
And you can come back in an hour and a half.
For the Wizard of Oz as well, but you've had 85 years to watch it.
Correct.
So catch up,
Thank you, Tori. Thank you. You have had 85 years. Get it together. It wasn't the first use of Technicolor, but it's everyone's favorite. Like, so just like watch it. It's important.
It's important.
Okay. Let's start with some good differences. What were good? What were you into? What did you like on the other side of the movie?
You mean the differences between Wicked and the Wizard of Oz?
Wicked between the movie and the musical because they're
so
like what
let's get into that.
Because a lot is different, and so like I'm interested in hearing what you think.
Well, medium is the message, right? So it had to adapt from stage musical to movie. That's a difficult jump.
Absolutely.
When people heard that they were going to split it into 2 films and got kind of cynical about it, like, oh, what a cash grab. But I was actually really excited for that because I knew that there was so much from the books that you could bring in. And I knew if they tried to shove it all into one movie, they would have had to make cuts to subplots and to songs. And I knew if they were going to cut something, Dr. Dillamond would be the thing. And he is such an emotional linchpin and he is so important to the story that if they cut it, I really feel like it would have gutted the soul of it. So
I agree.
I was so excited to hear that they split it. So that was great. And I loved that they built it because even Wicked, the musical, which is this big budget musical, the sets are very sparse. It's kind of your imagination fills in the rest of Oz. It's all very clockworky, but it's pretty bare when you think of it. But they actually took the time and they just went all out and built the whole thing. It's so immersive and I was all about it.
Okay. You just teed up like a great thing to talk about because it's the difference between a cinematic story and a theatrical production. And both of them have different goals. They just have different goals. Music is definitely important in both of them, but both of them have completely different like journeys that they can take. And like in this, you mentioning like if we would have cut it down, we would have lost like Dillamond and the animal subplot, which is really important to like, you know, humanizing Elphaba and like her like why she turns and why she flips. And instead of like cutting all of that with an extended movie, the cinematic universe, we get to instead give Fiyero his Dr. Dillamond by having him on a talking, like having him as a talking animal companion that also then suddenly gives them a stronger reason to later connect. It's interesting. Like the cinematic, it's like, oh, we're able to tell bigger stories where theatric is like, oh, we want to have impactful, powerful moments, you know, and it's 2 completely different goals, and I love it. I kind of like it. I like that we let it wiggle a little bit, you know, let the story breathe.
Yeah. And I think that was one of the changes I loved the most was the fact that, spoiler alert, guys, they gave Elphaba a bear nanny who helped to raise her, which again connects her through her childhood for why she cares so much about animal rights. She grew up really loving her Dulcie bear, her nanny. So those little things that they've added, brought back in, and they brought in stuff from the books. There was a Return to Oz reference in there. Like they threw it all in the pot, and I was so excited. John Chu. He's a real fan. He's a real one.
Yeah. You can tell that they really digested a lot of Oz material to produce this piece. Okay, so the bear is a fun thing. Do you think that it was cool that we got the bear, but we didn't get what's his name, Turtleman or whatever? Like
Turtleheart.
Turtleheart, yeah.
Turtleman's his brother.
Yeah,
Turtleheart. He's not turtle enough for the Turtle Club, Dan.
Yeah, because book spoilers. Nessa Rose isn't also the Munchkin Mare's daughter. She is also the product of another affair that the mother has, but the Munchkin Mare loves this weirdo Turtleheart as much as the mom does, so they end up as a power throuple, and they both end up dying. And it's the mare's love for his dead throuple that makes him obsessed with Nessa Rose, and like that. All that is lost in the movie, and there's not even a hint of it. There's not even a whisper of it.
Those books are so HBO. It's crazy.
They really are.
How do you tell that story and keep it rated PG? How do you do that?
Well, you don't. You can't.
Okay, so you're saying I have to wait for the HBO 8-part miniseries about the Wicked
20
book.
years.
Okay, yeah. Turtleheart. Okay.
When Universal bought the rights to Wicked, that was their intention, was to make a film adaptation, a drama adaptation. And then it was Stephen Swartz who was like, wait a minute, this would be an amazing musical. Let me try.
Wait a minute. We're invading the Iraqis, and I have a really great idea for a political allegory.
Pretty much.
Yeah. No one, every time I bring that up, they're like, that's not true. And I'm like, guys, has anyone seen the same show as me? Has anyone seen the same show as, anyway, we don't have to get into it. I love the bears. I love the animals. How do you feel about, Dr. Dillerman's song kind of being like mixed up with animals instead of it being like an Elphaba, since we're talking about animals, instead of it being the Elphaba duo? Because I'm a Dr. Dillerman stand. If I could, would like to manifest me playing Dr. Dillerman on stage. I would like to manifest that. I could totally do it. It's such a great, I don't think I have to dance much, and that's good. And I'll eat that entire paper legitimately every performance. I'll eat all of it.
But can you do it? Can you do that?
Yeah, I can do it. Oh, yeah, I can do it. I terrify people when I sing the song because I go hard. And they're like, I don't think that's a little too hard, Dan. I was like, he's a goat, man. He's a goat.
There's no such thing as too hard.
I'm going to, you know what, for you, Tori, I'm going to sing it on, I'll do it with my Figment puppet. I'll do Dr. Dillerman as Figment, and I'll sing it for you so you can hear my quality. There's all these new animals in the movie, and I think that's interesting. How do you feel about, what's your favorite new animal?
So I really I love that scene, but my favorite new animal is the sugar glider that's playing on the drums in the OZVlog's ballroom. She is amazing. Yeah.
The sugar glider is incredible.
But I think that was a really clever way to do something bad, because it is unanimously unliked by theater fans. A lot of people are like, I skipped that. I don't get it either. I think it's really important. But I also think it ups the drama and it ups the stakes, because there's a legit, can I say the word genocide? There's an actual genocide of the animals going on. So, and they're all getting together being like, well, what are we going to do? What do we do? And so they're establishing that there's fear. They're a marginalized group, and they are trying to figure out what's the next step here. What do we just leave? I think it was actually a really powerful way to use that song and tell that story. It was a good change. Give a thumbs up from me.
I agree, except for I was taken out because who is the breaking news silhouette shadow puppet cutter? That's my question. Who is? Is there like a squirrel that's quickly like, and he's just like, he's chopping out all the hot news so that someone with a kid could be like, all right, guys, gather around. The squirrel just got a new SOS. Like and they have electricity, and which is something that I like. I'm not even gonna get into. Like, is there like a coal plant somewhere in Oz that a bunch of like gophers are working or something? Like, because they have it's a weird place. But yeah, Shadow Puppet breaking news is interesting, John Chu, and don't think about that one too hard, because that one's just.
It didn't even occur to me, but now it's going to bother me. I'm going to have to go back and think about it.
Yeah, it bothers me. I've seen the movie 4 times already.
Thanks a lot, Dan.
I'm sorry. I love all the new riffs. And I think that, speaking of like good differences, it really also leans into this a cinematic storytelling. We've pop music-fied a lot of the songs, but that also that lends into the cinematic modern telling of the story. And I dig it. I think it's so fun. And it's a nice departure from the Broadway recording, because I can go back to that, and that's a different thing. Like, the Les Mis movie just gave me Les Mis again, and so like I'm never gonna listen to the Les Mis movie soundtrack, bro. If I could listen to,
you're not wrong.
If I could listen to any other one, I will. So but not this.
No, you're right.
This, I'm listening to this soundtrack itself, like.
Yeah, and that was one of the opportunities that they had to put their own stamp on it. And I think actually Stephen Swartz wanted to popify it more. He wanted to turn popular into like a pop song. And it was Ariana Grande who was like, absolutely not. We need to keep the legitimacy of the musical theater.
Chill, Steve.
And I'll add my flourish. Yeah, seriously, Stephen
Oh
Swartz.
my God. If I had a nickel for every time I saw that man eating during a press interview, that man is an agent of freaking chaos. That man has, there was this one very, very lovely aging gay man who's a Wizard of Oz historian, slightly balding, red hair. He looks like a munchkin, modern munchkin. You know what I'm talking about? Looks a little bit like me, right? You know what I'm talking about? He's a lovely man, and he like went backstage with Wicked. He did like a YouTube video, and he's like the official Oz historian or whatever. But like
that is Ryan J of Ryan J Reviews. We are actual real life friends.
Okay. So if you watch Ryan J's interview with Stephen Swartz, that man is eating a slice of pound cake the entire time, and he is chewing through all of his answers.
I didn't notice that.
You have to. It is. We would pause it. I just want to do a supercut of just his sections of the interview, or if you could ask him for the B-roll, just to have him post. Stephen Swartz eats an entire slice of pound cake.
Dan, he gave space to the pound cake.
He was holding pound cake space. He was holding pound cake space.
You know what though? If that were me, I would have been like, come on, we're so short on. They are strict. They're standing back there with a card. Like, you have a minute, wrap it up. And you're like, I mean, maybe it's just me because I'm new to this realm, but I was like sweating buckets. I was like, oh God, we have a minute. If he was eating pound cake, I would have been like, hold on a minute. We have no time for chewing.
He was chewing, man. He was chewing aggressively. He was chewing. I have to take this wig off now. I'm sweating too much.
Nice.
Okay. I guess got to be in pink, like my guess, because we're in our Glinda's eras, because we're aging millennials.
We're in our Glinda era.
So I'm trying to think of some other fun differences. I love I'm on the fence a little bit about how the songs were extended, because it interrupts the singability for me in a weird way. Every song, it felt like they're like, okay, guys, every song has to be 30% longer. You know what I mean? Like, and we ended up with an 11-minute Dancing Through Life. You know what I mean? And like, it's like, or like a 9.5 minute Defying Gravity. It's like, how did this happen? You know what I mean?
We needed a break to escape in a balloon.
Right.
That's how it happened.
Right.
But again, leaving room for artistic interpretation, for transferring from stage to screen, it did have to feel more cinematic. It's not end of Act 1 singing out into the crowd and, arm that might or might not work that day, depending on what's going on backstage. Have you ever seen a no-fly show?
I have not.
That is the best ever.
I have not seen a no-fly show, although I remember, I just watched an interview with an Elphaba who was talking, she was the first no-fly Elphaba ever, and I can't remember which one it was. I want to say it was Shushana, but I don't think it was. But it was an incredible story, like when Murphy doesn't rise in Fantasmic at Disneyland. It's like but there's still a plan B. It's like, all right, have the witch do it or whatever. So there's always a silly plan B, and a no-fly show is always. I've never. Have you?
Always fun. Oh yeah, I've seen one, and it's like an in-show exit day. It is so special. And the unfortunate part about it is I brought someone who had never seen the show, and I was talking up the end of Act 1. I was like, just wait, you have no idea. Your mind is gonna be blown. And then she didn't fly, and she walks down stage, everyone runs out, and I don't know if there was a moment where they didn't communicate that it was not going to be, and she wasn't gonna fly. I don't know if something was missed, but they looked surprised to see her there. So then they all threw themselves on the floor to look smaller than her. And I know that's the plan, but they looked caught off guard. And the lighting cues were not fixed. So it went dark and she was in front of the curtain. So she had to slowly walk backwards and then run for it before the curtain came down. And the person I was with turned to me and went, okay, you said there was going to be something, but did I miss it? I was like, no.
No, you didn't.
No, you didn't. But it's such a unicorn.
Can you walk us through?
I'm so happy I saw one.
What are the plans for if an elphaba doesn't fly? And can you tell us, the audience at home, what a no-fly means and what's happening behind the scenes?
A no-fly show at Wicked is when the mechanical apparatus that lifts Elphaba at the end of Act 1 is not functioning. Now, that may be because there's a little sensor that goes around her, and if it doesn't click, if the sensor doesn't recognize that it's secured, they abort. They forget it. Get out. Yep. Get out of there. And the plan is she just sings Defying Gravity downstage right at the audience, right there on the floor. And when the Wizard's guards run out to capture her, they literally lay on the floor. They literally lay flat on their backs with their spears going, get her! Because they have to look like she's above them, and that's the only option.
Tragic.
And
tragic.
It's still wonderful. She's still going to give a powerhouse performance. You're still going to have fun. But it's unique. It's like an in-show exit. It's special. If you got to see a no-fly show, you were among the lucky few.
Yeah, that is true.
Don't ask for your money back.
Cool.
Don't
it's
go
like
to
when
the box
Splash Mountain
office.
breaks down. Yeah, you get you have a story now. You have a unique story to tell. And it's,
exactly.
Talking about the theater and that space, I think that is also a really interesting way to talk about how the movie and the musical are different, in that the entire show takes place inside of the time clock dragon. And
yes.
Which in the book, and it feels like it's almost a whisper of an abandoned plot a little bit in the original workings of Wicked, but the entire show takes place in what is in the book a traveling a performance group of actors who are always putting on tales in the Wizard of Oz, in the land of Oz. They're traveling around and they just tell stories, and they have this big stage that is a clock dragon. And so I think that the implication is, and based off of the set and how sparse it is, and it's all gears and mechanical and everything's very industrial, is that we are watching a retelling of the story of the two witches through the perspective of the time clock dragon company in this theater. And
yes,
so different than the movie, which is here's the story with no pretense. Yeah, exactly.
and in the musical, the time dragon will move and his eyes will glow at very important moments where the history of Oz takes a shift, a really big shift.
Right.
And I theorized that the film would be framed that way as well. And when it didn't happen, I was like, okay. So I guess this doesn't really, because they would have to explain it. It doesn't get explained in the musical, and nobody really questions it.
Right. Well, you said it earlier, though, the medium.
Have to explain it.
It's all about the medium, and the medium of a stage with a proscenium and the seats. It is really an interesting layer of storytelling that, those who are keen and who are theater literate can begin to piece together, and those who are just there to be entertained, they're just like, oh, pretty, it moves, it glows, that's cool. It's spectacle.
Exactly. And he does get a cameo, though. You can spot the time dragon at Shiz.
He does. And I wonder if it will get a cameo in a different way in the second movie to signify again when something significant happens. And I'm sure it has some kind of payoff. I'm sure that lots of elements of the musical that we were looking for in Act 1 will hopefully be present in the second part, because there's lots of time and space to clean up off of that 45-minute second act being turned into a 2.5 hour movie.
Yeah, Act 2 is actually pretty, in terms of narrative, it's pretty bare.
Just zip, 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 and just boom. Yeah. And
because that's when it starts to fall into line with the traditional Wizard of Oz story, and they're kind of running parallel to one another. So
it starts to feel like a Star Wars. It kind of feels like a Star Wars story. It's like oh, and now we have to. We're going around the other corner while Luke does that. It's complicated. Yeah.
Yeah. I love it though. I love all of it. I don't know. I do
too. And I'm really excited to see what they do, what they pull in from Gregory Maguire, what they pull in from L. Frank Baum. I'm so excited to see what they do with Act 2. And I have theories. I've got things running through my head. I have ideas.
I'm wrestling, so let's talk about that, because I'm wrestling with some stuff in my brain holes, because there's a scene which some idiot, no disrespect to you idiot, who commented this on my social media, but some idiot's like, hey, they put in a whole scene where they changed the color of the brick road because Warner Brothers owns the copyright to a yellow brick road. I was like, you idiot. Does anyone have any GD awareness of anything? I was like, hold on, maybe I'm having like a Bernstein Bears moment. Let me go and Google for a moment. Was the yellow brick road in the original 1900 Frank? And Google's like, hey, you idiot. Yes, it was.
The yellow brick road is public domain.
Yeah, yellow brick.
That is not copyrighted.
But that whole scene where they're changing the colors of the yellow brick road. Boy, I'm so like, I'm hyper fixated on that scene and I can't stop thinking about it.
Do you know why you are? Because he's basically Walt Disney going, look at Epcot.
It's a miniature.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
Right. And I wanted to talk about that a little bit later, but let's talk about it now, because, the Emerald City essentially being Chicago's White City for the World's Fair is such a mind-blowing thing for a theme park enthusiast. You know what I mean? For like a theme park historian to be like, oh guys, the level of world building just got upped like 500 times because of what they're doing here. Are you familiar with the White City and like kind of like its parallels here?
Yes, absolutely. And this is said to be one of the inspirations for L. Frank Baum's Emerald City. People say that that's where he lifted some of that inspiration.
Yeah, I believe it.
And you can see it when you look at the architecture. You can definitely see it. And it definitely translates as well to the Wicked movie, the scale and the design elements. I mean, it does feel kind of like some things were copy pasted. And I mean, I don't know about you, but when I look at this, I also see the Magic Kingdom. I see so much, there's so much crossover, classic Americana.
But what's important about this city that a lot of people don't realize is that it's fake. None of that is stone. It's all wood and plaster and white paint. And it like dissolved. It like fell apart by the time, like there was no saving the thing by the end of it. Like people are like, oh man, it's like, it was just gone. And it's interesting that they tell the story that, and we even have that moment inside the hot air balloon tower that's lifting up. It's suddenly you're like, oh wait, this thing's built like a movie set. Like nothing's made of stone. Everything's just painted green. Everything is just wood and is held together by glue and spit. And like, that's what this was. And that tickles like a weird part of my brain that I don't even know, man.
I also like that Sweeney Todd's down the street from the fair. If you know your history.
Sweeney Todd, bruh.
Yeah. There's a murderer.
Yeah, but the Murder House, not Sweeney Todd. Well, I mean, I guess he had like a complicated like system of like hallways and passages and stuff.
It's true.
Yeah. This got dark real fast.
I'm saying it's history.
America's first serial killer was like active during this World's Fair, and it's interesting. Defunctland poses that America lost its innocence as a result of this World's Fair because of and also Walt Disney's dad helped build it. So there you go. Super fun little
Devil
fun
in the
fact.
White City.
It all connects.
It all connects. It all truly connects. Now that said, can we talk about the new lore that they invented for Wizamania and can we talk about the new lore? Because it felt, I don't know if you're a fan of the Zelda franchise, but the new lore that they added into the Wizamania felt very much like Legends of Zelda: The Ocarina of Time. Like these ancient powers left their powers behind. They're just glowing orbs and yada yada yada. How do you feel about the new Wizamania, and what do you know about this new lore? Talk to me.
So I think the new lore was kind of accidental because they were trying to figure out a place to put Idina Menzel and Kristen Chenoweth. And originally the idea was that they would be on an It's a Small World type ride.
Okay, yes, I do know this.
Where they were going through.
Yes.
They were going to go through this like boat ride where the history of Oz, and it was going to be a parody of It's a Small World. And Stephen Swartz and John Chu decided that they were going to compose something original for Idina Menzel and Kristen Chenoweth. But what I love about this idea is it ties into kind of the deeper, it's not exact, but it ties into the deeper Ozian lore, the idea of Lurline and it being a fairyland, and the fact that fairies imbued this land with magic from, ancient times. And that it's not, of course, a beat for beat interpretation, but it's very similar enough where, and just thematically, you literally have the originators of these roles handing the power to the new witches, handing their power and their blessing. When Idina Menzel adjusts Cynthia Erivo's hat, I almost fell out of my seat. I was like,
me too.
This is brilliant and beautiful. What a lovely way to do that. And just also watching them like push each other out of the way, because of course the press made such a big thing about their supposed feud and what's it about. And they were kind of making fun of that. And also they worked in a way to make the battle cry canon. So rounds of applause for everyone involved.
It was really great.
I love it.
I was gooped, gagged, and like speechless. My mouth was hanging open. I was laughing. I was so excited, and all of that joy, Tori, was cut immediately short by my largest grievance with this film. All right. My single largest grievance. And listen, sir, I'm speaking directly to you. You wrote the goddamn music for this. You should know the rhythm, cadence, and everything that's supposed to go into The Wizard Will See You Now instead of The Wizard Will See You Now. Oh, Steve, buddy, pal. Good friend of mine, writer of such legendary music such as Wicked and Pippin. What on God's green earth were you on like ketamine that day or something? What happened the day you walked into the studio dressed, you looked in the mirror, you watched them put that wig on you. You saw what was happening and you just decided to have your own Shushana Bean moment and reinvent The Wizard Will See You Now. The most like, the single like big, it's like everyone's like, oh shit, it's happening. Sorry, kids, I don't curse a lot on this show, but that's the moment. That's the moment where it's just like, it's happening, the wizard, and Steve, you wander in like a drunk off the streets of London or something that they just found a last minute to say this line, and you're not even sure what the line is, so you have to pause halfway through to think about, we'll see you now. Like, I'm just so mad. I'm fuming mad about The Wizard Will See You Now and the Wicked movie. Tori, thoughts?
You killed her. There has been a murder.
I'm
oh
steamed.
My God.
I'm a little steamed.
Wow, are you? I can't tell. That was another moment that they were going to swap out in the original script. Ariana Grande told this story to the Scentmen Pod. She was reading the script the first time through, and they had replaced The Wizard Will See You Now with Who Rang That Bell? And she called Cynthia Erivo, who had not yet gotten to that part. She's like, skip ahead a few pages. We gotta call John Chu. And they both called him and said, you have to restore The Wizard Will See You Now to the script immediately, if not sooner. So they rescued that line, and then I guess Stephen Swartz did not do it to her taste.
Yeah, he delivered it like Terry Crews in an Epcot pre-show. It was just the most painful thing. And you know what's so crazy? The writer, she was just there like 4 seconds early, be like, he must be a wizard. The most perfect line delivery one could ever imagine. It was an original line. No one had heard the line delivered before, so no one had any expectations. It was great. It was perfect for her. And then Steve, God, I'm so mad at Steve.
The Wizard Will See You Now.
Yeah, and then he roams through all the PR eating pound cake. I'm so upset. So upset.
It's I don't know what his motivations were, but he was trying to... I want to give Stephen Swartz the benefit of the doubt.
There is no benefit to give Tori. The man clearly never listened to the original Broadway soundtrack. He's not a fan like me. He's not a fan like you and I.
When you when you are God of a thing, you are allowed to recreate that thing.
Yeah, it's interesting. He's George Lucasing all over this right now. It's very interesting. And no one is like shitting on him like we did. I said it twice, kids. I'm sorry. It's only cool when adults swear. No one is really going hard on him like we did Lucas. And it's interesting because I guess maybe they're better. Some of them are better choices.
I think people aren't as neurodivergent about it as you are.
Oh,
I think
sure.
is the key.
No, that's not true, sir.
Is that what's happening here?
People are equally as neurodivergent as me, just for other things.
I
just get caught on. I just get caught on.
Not that he McClunkied in the middle of Wicked.
McClunky, yeah. I don't think Tori knows McClunky.
That's fine.
I don't. I have no idea.
It's okay. It's a Star Wars thing.
I don't get to know.
You don't even need to
when he gets home.
You don't need to waste any space in your brain with it. Just forget we even said it. Yeah. So let's talk about Wicked and theme parks, since this is Disney Dan's podcast. Because Universal Studios Singapore recently converted their New York section, and I've been to this park and it's awesome, to the Emerald City.
Holy
and
moly.
I think that is so cool. Including a bunch of random like Ozian cast members, like flower people and like, boutique people. The witches are there, and a big old wizard head. Tori, why haven't you visited? What's going on? Why
haven't I gone to Singapore? Well, it's
Tori.
Well,
the movie's out.
So
the press releases are over. Hop on a plane. Get to it. What are you doing?
In my defense, I saw the real thing when I went to Universal to do press day. So I got to see the real wizard head and stand next to it. It is very intimidating. But they also have things like this in Florida, and they have a very small version in Hollywood as well.
Sure.
I did go to the Hollywood park.
Not as cool as this, Tori.
Not even close. But I think what we're getting...
None of that.
I think we're getting No, obviously. And I'm sorry I've been derelict in my duties. I'll get on a plane to Singapore as soon as I can.
Tori, you're just the OZVlog. I'm just saying that, like,
You do
Universal
one thing.
Singapore, invite me. I know, I do this one thing and I'm not doing it to the level I should, but I would love to. But I have a feeling, I'm going to hedge my bets. I have a feeling that we will soon see entire sections of Universal parks that are dedicated to Wicked.
Sure,
and
yeah.
A defying gravity roller coaster builds its darn self.
Yeah.
So if we don't get that, I'm going to be...
I want to talk about that because Universal Japan Tokyo did this. For a moment, back in like 2007, I believe, 2007, 2008, they had a Wicked area and a Land of Oz. Not necessarily any attractions, but it was heavily inspired by Wicked, and it had a meet and but no one cared and no one ventured. And people are often talking about this thing as like an example of why Universal's already done it. They're not going to do it again.
Speaking of Small World earlier, this looks so
very small world
coded.
Now, inside of this thing is a tiny version of the Wicked musical that's entirely retooled. That is essentially like a high school or middle school version of the show. It's 40 minutes, and it begins with one short day and then skips into Dear Old Shiz and then beelines its way through the rest of the plot of the story to get to a complete defying gravity at the end as fast as it possibly can. It's this mini retelling.
It's like a Wicked review.
Yeah, it really is.
It's not Wicked.
What do you know about this?
It's very abridged.
What do you know about this production?
All I know is that Wicked is one of the biggest money-making entities that Universal has had in the last 2 decades. And I think this was an attempt to kind of soft launch and see how park goers would enjoy something like this.
Sure.
And as you said, it didn't really take off.
No.
So they took it apart. But now, forget it. I mean, I think it would be really silly not to at this point. It would be a missed opportunity and a half.
Yeah.
Here's something I was talking to theme park creative Dave Cobb about this over on my other podcast. And the one thing that we sort of landed on, though, is you can make a ride or like a show based on a single film, but I think a full land calls for one more success in the Gregory McDonald verse over top of Wicked. They need whatever that HBO show that they're going to try, or you need enough that you can see a range.
Yeah, but I don't wonder though if the fact that this movie is in 2 parts that instantly that checks the box. It's just okay, we have 2 movies that are each going to print $1 billion. People, the brand awareness is now done, and add in the musical
we are chock full.
and the tour.
we are chock full of wizards on brooms in Universal Studios already. That's another issue. And
sure, but it's a good alternative.
Figuring out how to do it different.
It's a good alternative, though, I think, to the modern millennial.
It's lean it on Emerald City for sure.
Right. Because Baum is equally terrible as Rowling. Like Baum is equally as terrible as J.K. Rowling, guys. But
he was pretty bad. I would say for Baum that his views did shift. He was not as immovable as Miss Rowling. You know, when he was influenced by his mother-in-law, Matilda Jocelyn Gage, who was an activist for Native American rights and who was a prominent suffragette. Yeah. His viewpoints definitely changed later in his life. Yeah, so unlike, maybe if he were on Twitter, he would have been more cemented in his really bad beliefs.
Baum would have been Red Pill so hard, guys. Baum would have loved Red Pill. He would have been, Baum would have been, what's that idiot? Not Elon Musk's friend, Tate. Andrew Tate. Yeah, Baum would have loved Andrew Tate, guys. I'm just saying. On Rogan.
Roald Dahl and Baum would have been two, like Andrew Tate, Musk, like red pilled.
But very specifically with those two about like indigenous, like American white rights. It was just a lot about anti-indigenous, anti-anyone not white. And it had nothing to do with sexuality. But hey, I'm just saying, not great people, guys. Not great. And their art persists. And so I don't know. I think that as culturally, I think a lot of people struggle with the Rowling of it all and the Harry Potter. And if Universal could be like, here's a Wicked, here's an alternative magic. I think that people could be into it. And if anything to corner out Disney and keep Disney out of it, they will.
Disney wants Oz so badly.
Oh my God.
They James Franco'd all over that though. So it's,
they
over.
did. Just as bad as L. Frank Baum, James Franco. So Wicked as a theme park attraction. This is great because Nathan and I have a little bit of we're trying to get like a running thing here. You'll be our second thing at this where we take an expert and we're like, all right, expert, tell us how this brand will make an attraction. And you already mentioned kind of how a Defying Gravity roller coaster would make itself, but I want to know more. What do you see as the voice of a Wicked generation as a theme park? Like, because they're going to be listening. Old Ruby Shoes is going to be dialing into this to listen.
I really feel like you need to have a place where you can be on the yellow brick road. I think the Emerald City would be ideal. It's a castle, so it would be a landmark and it would be beautiful. It would be picturesque. It's instantly recognizable. You could have all those shops in there, all the food options in there.
Yeah.
And I mean, you could have an escape from the Emerald City thrill ride, balloon, and it could be very much like getting into the Millennium Falcon and trying to escape, from the wizard.
Is it Emerald City, or are we in Munchkin Land and the ride takes us to Emerald City?
Ooh,
that we follow the yellow brick road.
The Glinda bubble ride. You could just get in Glinda's bubble and fly all over.
I do like the idea of a Glinda bubble people mover. I like this idea. It's already the Skyliner.
Theme park fans are already in their bubble, so you might as well literally.
Exactly. If canonically we can make Glinda make a slightly rectangular bubble in part 2, we've already got this locked, guys. And so much of the movie honestly felt to me like, oh, that's a theme park thing. Oh, that's a theme park thing. Oh, that's a vertical integration thing. So the movie's already just swimming with this stuff. But I don't wonder if it's not Munchkin Land with and kind of like how Batu takes us. Well, not really. That's a terrible. Yeah, Batu takes us to the Star Destroyer. Batu takes us to the recognizable place. But Munchkin Land is more controllable. But maybe not, because it doesn't have to be as big. I'm not sure. But I like the idea of a Defying Gravity roller coaster. What kind of coaster are we talking? In like, am I going to be sitting on like is it a wedgie coaster? What are we doing?
I mean, they have the technology for a wedgie coaster. We could be sitting on a broomstick of some sort, or maybe they'll have an option for broomstick or bubble. You choose which way are you getting around today.
Right. If we
can't all come and go by bubble, but some of us could.
If they do go Emerald City, I want them to go hard like they did with Pandora, and I want a Defying Gravity coaster that wraps through the high skyline of Emerald City. You know what I mean? So you feel like you're alpha being around. But I think that really what we need is like a soaring over Oz attraction that's like a seated hot air balloon glider simulator with smells and stinks. We go over Winky Country, Munchkin Land, Oz, the Impassable Desert, all that kind of stuff. I think
I'm here for it.
I'm here a soaring, and then like a Spider-Man Dark Emerald City ride is what I'm thinking.
Heck yes, I'm in.
That's good.
This is good. This is good. Universal, you should definitely hire us. We could help you with this.
Yeah, we're consultants. We're available at a very low fee. You won't believe how cheap we are as consultants.
Dan, that's very funny that you mentioned that, because there is certainly a Marvel Land just sitting around in Universal Studios right now.
Yeah, with a big green coaster already.
Yeah.
With a launch tube, with a nice skyline already built. With a bunch of already
easy,
incredibly specific architecture, like that one area with all like the big pillars with characters on them. Yeah. Babe, you paint that shit green. There's the third time's the charm, kid. I'm so sorry I said it 3 times. I'm so sorry. This is
why you wanted this podcast, so you could be a little cussy. So it's okay.
Right. I'm so disrespectful to Tori. There's going to be so many beeps in this. But you know what? Glinda's costumes in the musical were blue, and I guess I just felt inspired. So, because that was taken away from me. I'm here with you. I'm here with you on the Emerald City Defying Gravity coaster. I like that. What about eating? What about the eatery? Where would you like to see? What kind of Oz eatery do you want, Tori? Because we need a sit down and a quick service. We need a quick service and a sit down
and quick service. I mean, in terms of the book series, the L. Frank Baum describes there being like penny candies everywhere. Everything's green, so everything would have to. There'd be lots of food coloring flying around. We're having a lot of green everything.
Green eggs and ham. Universal's already used to it. It's fine.
Yeah, they can do it. I see this.
You can go get a lot of green food already there at the park, is all I'm saying.
You can. And Hollywood and Dine has already done a small Oz menu where you can get a flatbread where they sprinkle cheese in the shape of the OZ. It's very cute.
Nice.
I don't think it would be hard to do at all. I think they could totally pull it off. I think definitely. And the drink options would be amazing.
Right. I'm going to need I think the Oz Dust Ballroom would be a good quick service, so that like there's open space for you to dance, a lot of moving around, a lot of easy, you know what I mean? But I think that I would want to eat like a sit down in the wizard's in the wizard's chamber with the big head, over the Rainforest Cafe style. You know what I mean? Every once in a while, the wizard perks up and yells, and
there's
a thunderstorm.
What the wizard does. That's not narratively correct.
Flames would start shooting off in the walls.
Right. Whenever when anyone orders something charbroiled, the flames shoot off, and you have a finishing service at the table with wizard head flame.
Somebody ordered the wizard's fajita again.
Yep. You see,
we have a couple. I'm putting together a couple of the food items from Singapore. There
were Singaporean food items, huh?
There were Singaporean food items. Let me bring these up here.
Is that the right way to say it? Singaporean food items?
I don't know.
There's definitely a coaster out there though that feels like you're riding a bike, and so I think that so that could translate for Defying Gravity. You know what I mean? It could
for sure.
Here is the first one. This is the.
Okay, curly fries make sense. I gotta say, it's clever.
Yeah, this is bewitching.
With the curly fries.
This is bewitching beef. Bewitching beef
with the hat. I think John Chu said in interviews that he wanted the hat to first appear like a sandwich in the distance when the camera first caught it at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they also have they have wicked chicken and waffles called Wickedly Scrumptious.
Okay.
A green waffle with Brussels sprouts.
Yeah.
Wow. Eat the animals Alphaba fights so hard to protect.
I like that this is basically just
Tori's face. I heard of an ox, a professor from Quox who's no longer permitted to teach.
He ended up on a plate.
Who's now being served on the dining hall. And an owl in Munchkin Rock served fresh with Brussels sprouts, forbidden to preach. Now he only is fried.
It does sort of feel like this entire menu is like you get shit. It's the shiz version of Chef Art Smith's Homecoming. Basically.
Man.
It's all like
that raises is an interesting question. Is everybody in Oz a vegetarian? How do they make sure
I think it's Zootopia rules.
Sentient animals?
Zootopia rules. Because fish and bugs, I think, is like the thing. Because that's the thing with Zootopia. It's like, well, what's everyone eating if not each other? And it's fish and bugs. So I think it's got to be fish and bugs. It's interesting. The set designers like we couldn't have like horse and buggies because animals talk. We couldn't have like boats were like the thing that they had to like land on because they're like, what other transportation do they use that doesn't involve slave animals?
Except Fiyero. He rides Jack the horse. Did you hear he had worked with this horse in the past?
Yeah.
This was a horse he knew. This was a familiar horse.
Yeah, he's like Alan Cumming in that one monkey in the Chimp Crazy documentary. You know what I mean? It's like he's just following that thing around.
Yeah. Hey, when you make friends with a horse, you keep it around, you know?
I love the talking horse. I think the talking horse adds so much to the story. It's such a brilliant ad. And let's talk about it. Let's get into spoiler territory, Tori, because I know we kind of did, but let's get hard. Who is on Jack the Horse in the opening of the movie, Tori? Who do you suspect? What is your guess?
It's Elphaba.
You think it's the Big E? Because some people say it's the Big G on her way back to the Emerald City.
No, Glinda. Well, I mean, I guess timeline-wise, it could be Glinda riding back to catch her bubble and fly into Munchkinland to make the pronouncement. That timeline would work.
Right.
But I think what's going to happen is Glinda is going to be doing her thing, and I think we're going to see, because in the, spoiler alert, kids, in the musical, Fiyero goes to her at Kiamoko and they meet there, but I think they might meet elsewhere because the Scarecrow is left in charge of the Emerald City. So it would make sense for Elphaba to meet him there then bounce out of Oz.
Right. So that's like understanding that they're going to either participate in the 13 additional books of lore by like getting the Scarecrow and the Tin Man in charge of Munchkinland, all that kind of stuff. And that also is implying that they're looking to keep in line with the lore of the musical, which I think is not going to happen. Because I remember the first thing, and I've watched the movie 4 times now, the thing I'm looking for most specifically in that opening sequence is some kind of hatch, handle, anything around the hat to play around with how the actual musical ends with the knock of the hidden trapdoor. And then I have to remind myself, oh no, wait, that's a theatrical gag. That's a theatrical, the idea of a hidden door under the stage, it's lending into the whole Time Clock Dragon stage players context. It's a gag. The theatrical version is going to be different. It's going to be a bigger reveal. I just don't know. I don't think they've laid any clue about what that reveal will be yet. Like because it's going to be something. It's got to be like, they got to tee it up because no one's going to see it coming. No one's going to see it coming.
And they purposefully changed the color of Jonathan Bailey's eyes. I don't know if you guys realize this, but he's wearing very bright blue eye contacts. The only reason they would do that is if in part 2, somebody needs to look in his eyes and recognize him. Someone's going to figure out who he is that didn't in the musical. Right.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, I see. And actually that would tee up her doing her spell, thinking he's lost. Kind of yada yada. Which, okay, let's talk about all the clues, because Fiyero is the dirtiest one, like the most single most obvious like breadcrumb trail that's left. Second of, hi, my name's Bach Woodsman. I'll be Tin soon.
Okay, that's one change I did not like. Because his name in the book is Nick Chopper. You could have made him Bach Chopper. Why did we have to go full Woodsman?
Tori,
why?
Tori, listen to what you're saying right now. Bach Chopper is 10 times worse than Bach Woodsman. Are you kidding me?
I like Bach Chopper.
I will defend this.
Bach Chopper sounds like a character.
What is this, a New York motorcycle building TV show from the 2000s? Bach Chopper? No,
Dan,
Tori.
you should give context for the spoilers, because you're sort of hemming and hawing, but you probably should explain for those
as previously mentioned in the podcast. For those who aren't aware, Wicked is like Lion King 1.5 for The Wizard of Oz, in that the two stupid, dumb subplot characters from the first movie essentially tee up every sequence of events that happens in the primary source of media. Wicked is a secondary source of media based off a primary source of media, and people have to understand that everything in Wicked is going somewhere. Like, they're not just like, do, here's a new person to meet that's not going to have anything to do later. No, everything you meet, it's all setting everything up. So a lot of the characters and a lot of the plot setups from the first movie are, carried over, and they will pay off in the second movie. And the payoffs will reveal plot elements from the original story of Wizard of Oz. Now, I remember, and like, I laugh at people now who are like just figuring it out, but I remember being like obsessed with like all the reveals. Like when I first saw Wicked and I first learned about the story, and I was like, oh my God, there's what? And there are, of course, clues like peppered through the first act, but you're in a theater. It's 90 minutes. It's breakneck speed. You're not picking up on half of the stuff, but in the movie, you have more time to have more fun and be more subtle about things, or not so subtle with Bachwoodsman. But Fiyero has like probably one of my favorite stack of like clues, like Scooby-Doo style. And I want to definitely run through them. What is your favorite Fiyero clue? Let's just start with that.
Do you know, and it's subtle, but for me, I actually squealed when he gets off his horse. And I love that they changed the way that he and Elphaba meet. It establishes a deeper connection from the get-go, because that's a complaint the musical gets a lot, that their relationship is kind of flimsy. But I really feel like they solidified it.
It's so grounded in this movie. It's so much better in the movie. Their relationship and the payoff of the relationship. It's not just like, oh, I like good girls because I'm a bad boy. It's like, oh no, I'm a good boy. I like bad girls. Like, it's just such a dumb theater story. You know what I mean? But in the movie, it has meat. It has meat,
So much. And Jonathan Bailey he did such a great job. Fiyero is a much better character in the movie than he is on stage. But the very minute he gets off his horse, he gives her the following look, and I'm not going to be able to translate it to people who are listening rather than watching, but he gives one of these looks where he's like kind of looking.
Oh my gosh.
It's very Ray Bolger.
It's very Ray Bolger. Oh.
All the chef's kiss for Jonathan Bailey. All of it. And
I didn't even notice that.
I couldn't help it because
now that you say
Ray
it, though,
Bolger was always my favorite.
Because there is that kind of, and for those listening, Ray Bolger as Scarecrow, he kind of looks down with his face, but up with his eyes, and like a puppy. Yeah, or like a minstrel performer, but we don't have to talk about that because Scarecrow.
Why do we have to go there?
Well, because I am broken. I'm broken inside now that I've learned that
because
the Scarecrow.
Now you've watched the 1902 stage play and now you're changed for the worse.
That the Scarecrow, his choreography, and most of his character is entirely inspired by Baum's fascination with this one minstrel performer that edges on like inappropriate. Baum loved this guy so much. He was like rewriting literature that he like already established. Not really, but seriously, Scarecrow's problematic, but we don't have to talk about it. But my favorite is after Glinda like scurries Bach off, the camera pans over and Fiyero's there and he's like, oh, you're good. And he's standing exactly like he hangs as a Scarecrow later with his legs crossed. It's such a subtle one, but also I love Elphaba telling him to get stuffed. Such a great line. Of course, all the lyrics from the original musical are still there and bigger clues than ever. Huge clues. But then, of course, there's is it Shen or Fanny who's like, Fiyero's gonna lose what's left of his mind.
Left of his mind.
How do you feel about the Bowen Yang?
I love Bowen Yang.
How do you feel about this?
Bowen Yang was brilliant. I loved him. I loved him. I thought he was great.
Feel like, because maybe it's because I just watched too much SNL, but I couldn't help feel like an SNL character infiltrated my fantasy wizard film. You know what I mean? Like I felt like every time I turned around, it was like, hey, she needs a pastry. You know, it was just like an SNL line. I'm sure.
I feel like a lot of that was improv that just made it in because it was so funny.
Did you hear Bowen's interview?
He's so funny.
He's like, Bowen's like, well, they wrote these lines. He's like, I'm not changing anything. I'm just going to do the lines written for me. This isn't, I'm not the star here. I'm just a utility player. And every time that he had a line written, John Chu was like, hey, do a couple improvs. Like, just do like a silly one. Do like a silly one or two. And he used every single take of his improvs. Not a single written line that Bowen had in the film actually appeared in the film. It was all of his improvs. And I think that's so great.
But you know, we all, as musical theater folk, I'm sure you had friends just like that, who every chance they get try to be the center of try to be the person telling the jokes, trying to be the person who's telling the jokes and is pulling focus.
Yeah,
we all have that friend, and they are so desperate to be in Glinda's inner circle. I feel like he's just working so hard to be seen in the Land of Oz. And he's also, and he said this himself in his podcast, he said he's a racist. He sees this green person and decides, I'm going to ruin her life.
Truly he is one of a kind.
So I thought he added some levity, but also like that mean-spiritedness for the sake of being well liked, because I mean, it really resonates, even though he's like a caricature of it. I think it was actually kind of brilliant because we all have had a person like that in our lives.
It's very important, I think, if you're going to be that level of popular, you need a lady who will be with you, and you need a villainous gay. It's very important.
A villainous gay.
It's very important. If you don't have both of those, you're not really like at the top.
Well, you know what? Wicked actually tees off beautifully after Mean Girls, the musical, the movie.
Oh.
You know, like it like was like, oh yeah, look, it's fantasy Mean Girls. It's kind of wild.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And they exist in the show. They're just both girls in the show, Shen Shen and Fanny, but they exist there. You're the two that are always hovering around Glinda. That's who they're supposed to be in the film.
Right. But again, the plot moves so fast in the musical that like they're gone the minute they show up, essentially. I mean, they're there, but they're eventually the plot abandons them.
Yeah,
I assume those actors just play chorus as well, right? Like
ensemble members too. Yeah, ensemble members.
Yes.
And
so not only do we get what's left of his mind, but even Paul Taswell, the costume designer, hid Easter eggs in Fiero's costume.
Many.
I don't know. I wouldn't say
on
hid.
His white blouse.
Hiding is the strong word.
On the sleeve of his white blouse, he's got either what looks like wheat or corn embroidered into the sleeves.
Yeah, 100%.
And also during Dancing Through Life, he's holding a book called Forbidden Corn.
Yes, I did pick up on that. And also, what I love about his like military-esque uniform is also very informed by the book character, in that the uniform is covered with little blue diamonds, which in the book, his skin is covered with little blue diamonds. He's got a very interesting like appearance in the book, which I think also kind of humanizes him to Elphaba, because they all both look different. And I also am kind of fascinated by, and I don't think people will really pick up on it until the second movie, but Fiero is one of the blue guys from the Wizard of Oz movie that's guarding the castle. That's Fiero's dad, essentially. For those of you who don't understand who and where Fiero come from, and I cannot wait to see more of that castle. Honestly, now that I realize it, forget the Emerald City or Munchkinland. Build me the Winky Castle. I want to go to that. That thing looks so dope. It's amazing. It's like the floating rocks of Pandora.
It looks incredible, and it is an old seat for the royal house of the Ticklars. So, and again, Fiero from Gregory Maguire's novel was an indigenous leader who was a person of color and was not the popular guy. They kind of conflated his character with the character of Averick, who was like the popular kid in school. And to create this Prince Fiero for the stage, it's very Disneyfied. They wanted to make him more of a princely figure. So the blue diamonds are a great callback, and I'm glad that they did that. So at least there's a nod to the origins of Fiero from the book. I know a lot of people felt strongly that they should revert to that, but this is based on the musical, and so they went with the musical trope, which I think was a good choice. But I'm glad that they included that. It's a nice tip of the hat to the folks who are big fans of the book.
Well, yeah, it's a conversation about media and what its goal is, and the book is its own version of media, a novel, and it allows for so much more. And when you're on stage, you just have to start condensing things and characters. And I kind of the whole love triangle is a very staple device, from hell, Phantom of the Opera is Wicked is just Phantom of the Opera with a different weirdo. You know what I mean? Like, it's all love triangles. Is all musical theater is. You know what I mean? And so
it's high drama. It's high drama.
True.
A love triangle.
True.
And I really feel like we are being set up for something truly devastating in part 2, if I may. We saw in that initial teaser trailer, we saw Glinda have a wedding sequence. And I thought that was going to be the moment in Popular where she says, Fiyero and I are getting married. I thought she was going to have a quick fantasy sequence where she sees herself in her wedding dress, but we didn't get that in part 1. So
thank
unless
you for
that's
saying this,
scene,
Tori. Thank you for saying this.
Unless this is a deleted scene, what I think is going to happen, Fiero's going to leave her at the altar. Instead of leaving their engagement party, I think Elphaba's going to break up their wedding. And I think that sting is going to be so much more dramatic in part 2. Hold this for next time, guys. We'll come back and see if I was right.
There's going to have to be a significant time jump in the part 1 and part 2 time break. Because the thing that keeps eating at me, in addition to the paper cutting breaking news, is the fact that the wizard is like, hey, I'm thinking about building 700 miles of brick roadways, and it's going to need to be done in about 15 minutes of plot. So, you know what I mean? Like, there's going to have to be some kind of, I think Thank Goodness is going to be a huge time jump. And part of Thank Goodness is going to be a brick building song. Like, the road is going to be laid during Thank Goodness, because it has to be. The people of Munchkinland have a GD song about following the yellow brick road. You don't start singing about your new highway unless it's well established and everyone's, used it enough to know where it goes. You know what I mean? To start sending a strange woman down the path.
Route 66 of Oz.
Yeah, right. It's just like, what do you mean the Yellow Brick Road isn't built yet? Like, that was crazy to me, because that house is going to land at the beginning of Act 2. What's that?
We know a little bit about that as well, because there was a leaked photo from the Daily Mail on set on part 2, and they have these giant bricklaying machines that are literally putting the bricks down. They're like trucks.
Get out of here! I knew it.
So they've streamlined the process of building the Yellow Brick Road, but I really do feel like we're going to see at least a 5-year time jump, and we're going to see. Perhaps, thank goodness, is the opening of the road. Maybe they're having a party because the road is finally complete.
Yeah.
I mean, and maybe Elphaba's going to tear it up. I hope we see more of anarchist Elphaba in part 2, because that's what she was in the novel. And I really hope she just tears Oz apart, so she earns a little bit of that.
Yeah, she goes full Khaleesi.
Reputation. Yes.
Yeah. Everyone got those Khaleesi tattoos, and they did not know where she was going. You know what I mean? So hold off on your Elphaba tattoos until you find out who she kills in the second movie.
I mean, some of those guards who fell out of that balloon looked like they broke their necks.
Yeah, they got biffed pretty hard.
I think Glinda and Elphaba already have a body count.
That's more like a manslaughter charge.
Sure. Involuntary manslaughter.
Involuntary.
Yeah. Okay, just before we stop talking about it, I want to talk about, how do you feel like the wizard was set up in this movie? Because we really didn't talk about Goldblum. Madame Morrible, just quickly, Madame Morrible, to me, should be the largest chewer of scenery in the history of mankind. Oh, Miss Elphaba, many years I have waited for a gift like yours to appear.
So you want Matt Berry to play...
The wizard shall make you his magic grand vizier, my dear. You know, I want that. I don't want...
It's full Matt Berry. You went full Matt Berry.
I want to scrap the entire movie. I want you to play Madame Morrible.
I'll be there. I'll be there.
I'll be
the
horrible
Dylan
Hairspray.
You just call me in. Yeah. I'm not going to dress like Edna from Turnblood from Hairspray.
No, but maybe you should. Maybe I like this drag element.
Yeah, and Michelle Yeoh just didn't chew the scenery enough for me. But in the production's defense, Keila Settle showed up and did a lot of chewing, so I guess that balanced it out a little bit.
Yeah, I think they were trying. The whole Kiala Settle character was to throw audiences off the scent of Madame Morrible being a bad guy, because she's really playing to the audience that she's this maternal, loving figure to Elphaba, who's accepting her and loving her, nurturing her. That moment where she sits down and provokes her into levitating the coin by talking about Dr. Dillamond is so sinister, because she looks like she's being an empathetic ear to her, but what she's actually doing is twisting the knife to provoke that magical response out of her. She wrote those words on that chalkboard. I believe that with my whole heart and soul.
Yeah.
And she is she's quietly nefarious. And in part 2, she's going to chew up all that scenery. She's going to have that moment that, you listen to me, Missy. Oh, it's going to be delicious. I can't wait.
Maybe. I don't know if Michelle has. I don't know.
You're not
if Michelle,
convinced. You're not convinced.
I'm not convinced. I'm sorry.
She has
I'm not
an
convinced.
Oscar. She has a legit Oscar.
Yeah, for doing something very different than Madame Morrible is all I'm saying. And John Chu has been enchanted by her magic powers. And no, it's all fine.
Believe in something, Dan.
Well, if I didn't have enough of a problem with Michelle Yeoh, I also I love a Jeff Goldblum. I truly do. But if you're going to give me that, call up, God, why can't I think of his name? Cowbell. Call up a true
Ferrell?
song and dance man. Who?
You said Cowbell.
Christopher Walken?
Yeah.
I think you meant Christopher Walken.
Yeah, Christopher Walken. I want Christopher Walken. I want a true song and dance man. You know what I mean? I want someone.
Okay.
No way.
Yeah,
we tried him as Captain Hook, and it did not work in our favor.
That was the worst.
He was good in Hairspray,
worst. He was so good in Hairspray. Him as Captain Hook was stupid, but the Wizard would have been good, because then he actually could have tap danced instead of whatever silhouette Jeff Goldblum did in the film.
But knowing what happens in part 2, he also had to be a little bit of a daddy, and I mean that in a couple of ways.
All right, Tori, God damn it.
This is for the ladies in the audience. I was sitting there going, "Whoo, Jeff Goldblum."
Yeah, okay, let's talk about it, because how do you feel about the green elixir? And I know that in the movie it's portrayed slightly differently than the musical. In the musical, it's very much different than kind of how it's portrayed in the book. How do you feel about our obsession pop culturally? I can go to Starbucks and get Elphaba's mom's roofie latte. How do you feel about the green elixir? And then by extension, how do you feel like all of that was teed up in this movie? Do you think it was given away too much?
I'm not over roofie latte yet.
Well, I mean, that's what it is. It's hey, come on down and find out how Elphaba really got made, guys. Yeah.
Roofie latte for Dan. Roofie latte for Dan.
Me.
Do you know, I really feel like they portray her as more of a willing participant in the Starbucks roofie latte.
For sure.
It's clearly not their first encounter. He had a special knock. She knew he was coming. He had the drink ready. This was not their first rodeo. She was clear. They set her up very clearly to be a willing participant. It's less that in the musical. Mm-hmm. I think it leaves more, and in the book, I think more is left up to interpretation in terms of how much did she consent to this. But I think in the movie, she's certainly all in it. Yeah. You even see her have a moment of recognition when she comes out green. The mother goes, "Oh, shoot. I know exactly how this happened." She was well aware of what she did.
And so
what I want to know is, what the heck is in that thing?
Is it like heroin? What is the thing? What's the analogy for it?
Oh, it's Mountain Dew, guys.
I think
it's Mountain Dew. No, it's Mountain Dew. It's canonically. Hold on, let me look up here. What did Mountain Dew? Because Mountain Dew used to be some kind of mountain elixir, and this guy's from Nebraska or something.
So it's moonshine.
Yeah.
He must have added some Ozian element into whatever he was making that accidentally turned it into a
Mountain Dew came from 1940s in Knoxville, Tennessee. It most definitely is Mountain Dew. It's most I hate to break it to you guys. It's Mountain Dew.
Isn't the Wizard 20s, 30s?
And what's best is the original line for Mountain Dew is, "It'll tickle your innards." So I mean, there you go, Mountain Dew. No, but it is. I do like, and Elphaba is clearly, And that's where I'm like confused by the lore that they introduced with Wizamania, and I feel like it oddly conflicts with the plot of the story. Is that Elphaba is clearly born of two worlds. She's like this like walker between two worlds, and kind of like Blade in the Wesley Snipes Blade. You know what I mean? Elphaba's like a day walker a little bit, and so establishing that there's a lore with a language, and I know we needed to like tell people why the Grimoire was important, its significance. I understand that, but it weirdly feels like, okay, but then where did Elphaba's power come from? Like,
is the issue, Dan, also that explanation is done through propaganda, so you're not exactly sure what's real and what's
for sure, even in addition to that, because they even say it to you right at the beginning of Wizamania. It's like the totally true tale, that we didn't totally make up, what I mean? I don't know. Do you have a headcanon, Tori, about Elphaba's powers and why she can read? Like, what have you figured out in your mind?
I do think, they say she's a child of both worlds. That's why she has all of this power. And we do get the propaganda version, which is basically like the religious text of how this old ancient book came to be. And we could relate that to things in our own world that people teach us as, biblical fact, but maybe not. We don't know.
It's one of my biggest problems with religion,
and we just don't know what the truth is.
Yeah.
No, honestly, same for me. So, but that's what this is in terms of Ozian canon. And he could have said absolutely anything, and the Ozian people would have been like, he did it. Look at him go. All he says is Omaha, because that's where he's from. He's from Omaha, Nebraska. He literally could have said anything because no one knows how to read it. So I really do think it's that lore of her being born of our realm and the Ozian realm where magic naturally exists, plus whatever thing he gave her mother, which clearly had some sort of element in it. I see him, he's a door-to-door salesman at this point. I see him going around Oz. He's trying to ferment himself something to drink, and he pulls some Ozian herb or root or something that has magical properties that perhaps would be used in potion work, but he didn't know that and brews this drink and accidentally does something chemically to her. I have no idea. Yeah. We really don't get a firm explanation, but I think that the easiest explanation is she was born of one person from our earthly realm and one person from this fairyland, and that's how we came to have this supremely magical person. And the prophecy is not actually about the wizard, it's about Elphaba. She is the only person who will be able to read the ancient lost language.
Right. But I'm really interested to see where the second part takes us. I'm sure that we're going to get more of an explanation than just,
I'm less sure we're going to get a reasonable explanation.
You sure?
I think this is one of those, I don't know. How much can they, I guess they could invent, but the musical's very opaque about it. So they would have to the only reason I say that is that canon.
When they're in the hot air balloon area, the tunnel, and it has all of the wizard's effects, which first and foremost, I'm like, how in the F did this man get this many crates on a hot air balloon and get them caught up in a storm? But what I caught most notably, and I think Elphaba rolls it in front of the doors before she barricades the doors, is he has a potions cart. He literally is a snake oil salesman. So I'm very interested to see if we will see him brewing a potion, especially during the confrontation of Wonderful. If we're going to see like chemist wizard, at work, in some way, shape or form, because I feel like there's space to at least, because in the musical, Glinda just finds the bottle and she's just like, oh, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, you're right, because he offers Glinda a drink from the bottle in part 2 after Elphaba and Fiyero bounce out of there. He says, have a swig of this, it numbs the pain. So he's clearly still on whatever roofie drink he has been brewing all along.
Is it implied that there's alcohol in Oz, in the books, in Gregory Maguire's books, or did he bring alcohol to Oz? I understand there's opium, there's drug dens, there's sex clubs, there's lots of weird stuff that happens in the books, but I wonder if it's maybe not implied that almost like the wizard, taking a bite of the apple, he brings sin to Oz by bringing alcohol to Oz. It's kind of,
that's a good point.
I don't know.
He brings capitalism. He brings money to Oz he does in the Elfring Baum series. they were a socialist utopia where everyone just gave whatever was needed to one another and nobody used money. The Tin Man says to Auntie Em and Uncle Henry, spoiler alert for the books, kids, when Auntie Em and Uncle Henry relocate to Oz in book 6, they say, we don't have any money to buy this farm that you're giving us. And the Tin Man is like clutching his pearls like, money in the land of Oz. We don't do that anymore. That's some stupid thing the wizard brought here. We got rid of that. So he does accidentally bring capitalism to the Emerald City.
Oh,
so
wow.
who knows? Perhaps he also brought, whining and dining and partying.
I think it's interesting. I never really, until this moment, kind of equated him to being the snake in the Garden of Eden, but he very much is. He very much is the snake in the Garden of Eden. Where do you think that Oz has a physical place? Like a physical location on this planet Earth? Because for the longest time, and I thought that I didn't know about L. Frank Baum had a book shelf next to him that was at an index from O to Z on it or whatever story people tell. But like bizarrely, the way that Oz is kind of like drawn and positioned, it feels like Australia. It feels like this just far off land with a big land mass with just like one settleable area and just dangerous desert in every direction otherwise. Did you, in your mind, do you have like some kind of, like, is Oz a real place on Earth, or do they go through, like, what is it?
I always saw Oz as some sort of parallel universe because there are so many ways to accidentally get there. You can get there via tornado, via getting into a floating chicken coop, via falling through the earth in an earthquake, walking down a road the wrong way. Like, Dorothy ends up there like completely by accident one day, just walking down the road. She was going to do something and then just found herself in the land of Oz, like totally by accident. So I feel like the Land of Oz almost calls you to it, like invites, kind of like the Neverland does, like pulls you into it.
Room of Requirement style.
I think it's a parallel universe that exists in tandem with Earth, but I don't think it's on this earthly plane.
Gotcha.
Or perhaps it's in the core of the Earth somewhere, but it's not on top.
And Dorothy's like Doctor Strange multiverse hopping, like she's just hopping. Back
I don't know what you mean by that, but yes.
Are there other Oz's? Like, do we ever leave Oz? Does anyone cross the impassable desert in the books? Like, what?
Yes.
What is on the other side of the desert?
And there are other countries.
Oh, okay.
There are other countries. There's the land of Ev is on the other side of the desert. Yeah, you can. It's not totally impassable, and it doesn't turn you to sand like it does in Return to Oz. It's just like really big and hard to get around. So, but Ozma at one point does roll out a magic carpet. Yeah,
the land of the sandworms. Canonically, perhaps Oz is on Arrakis. I didn't even think about that. That's possible.
Could be. It all connects.
They're all just on Spice. Actually, I'm sorry. I'm watching the new Dune show on HBO Max.
Yeah, the wizard is of course Harkonnen. Yeah, I see the logic
Yeah. Well,
but Jeff Goldblum, I thought was really, really fun. I thought because you have to be charming, and this is the thing that James Franco lacked as the wizard. I'm going to have to just James Franco bash for a moment because Oz the Great and Powerful is a travesty of a film and a travesty of an Oz adaptation. And Jeff Goldblum, I feel, at least brought charm and fun and nefarious Walt Disney energy to the Land of Oz. And you could see him being charming enough to accidentally take over a nation.
Oh,
he drifted down and was like, hey, I'm Jeff Goldblum. I'm going to rule the Land of Oz. Like, he just, my terrible Jeff Goldblum impression. But he totally does it. And I could see it. And I understand that people wanted more Goldblum or less Goldblum. He wasn't enough Goldblum for some people and he was too much Goldblum for others. But I really thought he was fun. I enjoyed him.
Yeah, I did too. I really did. He's just perfect. And I know that they kind of teased in one interview that they might be working on Wicked Part 3 and 4 and 5. And if they do that,
that was Ryan Jay's interview.
It was. Do you want them to follow Baum canon? Do you want them to continue to build on Son of the Son of Wicked? Son of Witch, or do you just want them to do their own thing? Like, cause that's also another interesting perspective is just, well, guys, just do whatever you want. Like, who cares? These characters are yours to just mess around.
There's tons of source material to draw from if they choose to do that, but I would be very open to completely original, brand new territory, like break new ground. Let's go. They did a brilliant job with Wicked the Musical, taking it in its own direction and building its own canon from Gregory Maguire's work, which was built from L. Frank Baum. And that's the beautiful thing about the Oz fandom, we have all of these intertwining but completely original ideas that kind of branch off and do their own thing, and they all work together to support this one beautiful story. And so I'm completely open to hearing their own original ideas. Like, go for it, Stephen Swartz and Winnie Holzman. Just throw it all at the wall.
I really feel like they're going to have to work hard for us to be really enchanted by these characters, because once you go beyond the Lion King 1.5 of teeing up plot elements that you already know are going to unfold, I wonder how the audience will respond. It's kind of like the last seasons of Game of Thrones kind of thing. Like, once you progress beyond the material, what kind of creative team do you have? Did it turn out you only had a creative team that was really great at adapting and expanding, or did you have a creative team that was really good at being original? And I'm very interested to see where this one goes, because Wicked Part 3 could destroy the franchise. I mean, it honestly could. I know it sounds dramatic, but I mean, no one talks about Game of Thrones anymore, and it's tattooed on so many butts. You know what I mean? Like, it's there's so many tattoos of Khaleesi, and no one talks about the show anymore. You know, like, it's wild. It's just wild. So, I don't know.
You're not wrong, but if we went by that thought process, the 1939 film wouldn't exist, because it changed so much about the original.
It really
book.
did. It really did.
You have to, in my opinion, it's better to close your eyes and leap and just see what these brilliant creative minds can do, and hope for the best. It could ruin it, but it could also be amazing. It could.
That's true. That's true. Well, Tori, you've been a true wealth of knowledge, and I adore you, and I'm so glad that we are BFFs now. At the end of each of our episodes, we like to talk about fun stuff that we're doing that doesn't necessarily have anything to do with Wicked, although mine does. Yours does too? Okay, yeah. Great. Well, it's that time, and I've been waiting, and I don't care what Cynthia Erivo says. That agent of chaos, Cynthia Erivo, because let me come to The Color Purple and sing along with her live on stage and see how everyone in the audience feels. Do not sing in the theater. Also, don't clap. No one can hear you. No one can receive. Don't
wait. At the very end, or like after?
I despise when people clap at the end of movies. It just
I like it.
It gives no. No,
yeah,
don't do it.
Hey, we did it.
No one's there to receive your claps.
We did it.
No one's there to receive it. You're just doing it for yourself. It's masturbatory clapping at the end of a movie. There's no one there. There's no one there. No one cares,
I suppose.
I get it. I saw the movie I liked.
I beg your absolute pardon, Disney Dan. Absolutely.
All right, bring it on. You can dismantle it, Tori. I'm fine. But I'm going to do the Wicked sing-along. I'm on my way. And I'm going to wear this wig. I'm going to dress up. Stay tuned to see me as a full munchkin.
I'm so excited for you. I'm so excited for you.
So that's what I'm doing for fun. Nathan, what are you doing for fun?
So I've been working on, as many know, I also run the theme park audio archive on YouTube.
God, any opportunity to plug your theme park audio archives, man.
I mean, I don't know why I plug it, because I don't make any money off of it. It's like very popular.
No, because you're an archivist, because you're a college professor, and that's just what you do.
Technically,
Gloiven, my theme park audio archives.
But what I would say is that I've been working on a version of the TCM version. I've been trying to recreate elements of it and try to bring it kind of back together. And I had no idea. I've been having fun with the fact that apparently, according to several people now, which I still can't believe it's true, the voice of Dorothy Gale in The Great Movie Ride is Liza Minnelli, which I didn't know. And it blows my mind. And I've now I've heard the isolated source track, and I can hear it now. I can hear
what? Yeah. What? Okay, you have to send me that so I can make a TikTok, and we'll tag all of us in it.
I assume it's real. I mean, the thing is like no one's telling me it's not, and I've begged the internet to prove me wrong. But the wiki says it, and then several other people have. So please, if this is like false, we need to kill it very quickly. But like,
yeah. Tori, would you say that Kristen Chenoweth is our generation's Liza Minnelli?
She's so fabulous. I mean, she is fantastic. fantastic. I would say Liza Minnelli, there will never be another Liza Minnelli. Liza with a Z is the only.
There sure won't, doll.
But I've also heard that about Great Movie Ride, and I've never heard it contradicted. So my headcanon is yes, it is.
Yeah, I hope so. I technically am like 3 or maybe 4 degrees away from Liza Minnelli. I could dig. Anyway.
Listen, there's no faster way to find out if something's wrong or not than making a confident TikTok about it and posting it on the internet.
That's true. That's true. I would appreciate
So send me that audio clip. We're going to make a TikTok and we'll find out. We will find out. Tori, what are you doing for fun these days?
For fun these days, I am getting ready to enjoy the holidays with my family. We're so excited to celebrate. We celebrate Christmas, so I'm so excited about that. And 2024 was a huge year for us. We've had so many wild and crazy adventures, and goodness knows what's in store for 2025. But I can tell you that right out of the gate, I'm going to be doing some work with my fellow Ozians at Down the Yellow Brick Pod, Tara and MK, fellow Oz historians. And I'm working on a book project. Ooh, that will probably not be anytime soon. So, sit back and wait for that. It's going to be a while, but I'm doing the research right now for that, and I'm really having fun.
Tori, do you have
and I will also be going to the sing-along. So yes, we're all going to be singing in the theater.
Tori, do you have a small exclusive tree for Wizard of Oz based Hallmark ornaments? It just seems...
No, we have one giant chaos tree with Star Wars, Wizard of Oz, all of it just thrown on. It's very haphazard. We have a Death Star on the top, and it's all Wizard of Oz on the bottom.
Might I suggest just hanging garland in your collection room? Just hang some beautiful garland, and then you can just keep your ornaments hung all year round in a small, carefully curated, because I'm sure you've got to have some good ones.
We have some beautiful ones. Yeah, I love taking them out and putting them on the tree. It's really
Do you own any pieces of the movie and or musical?
I own nothing from the movie. That's a tax bracket I will never belong to. The Ruby Slippers just sold for $28 million at auction.
You can manifest that. I didn't think I'd ever own pieces of Muppet history, and now I own like 3 or 4. So, I mean, it happens. Manifest.
Dreams do come true. I do have a first edition of The Wonderful Wizard of Oz by L. Frank Baum, which is something I cherish very much.
What?
And if you look behind me here, this is all Wicked stage-used props on this shelf.
Whoa.
So, I got the woo.
Nice.
So, yeah, we have a lot of really special things.
Cool. Did you get those from the flea market or just like from sourcing and...
Broadway Flea, yes. Broadway Flea is the place to go for stuff like
Are you
that.
in the Northeast?
I am.
Okay.
I am very close to Manhattan.
Oh, me too. I'm just in the Lehigh. I'm in the Lehigh Valley.
Wicked.
Yeah. Well, oh my gosh, we should.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm just an hour outside of the city in Allentown, PA. So
Oh my gosh, we got to make this happen. Wicked day.
Now that you've geolocated both of yourselves, we can end the podcast.
Do you think Ariana and Cynthia will come to Wicked? Do you think it will happen?
Come to the musical?
Yeah. Do you think that they will perform?
Oh,
like do it on Broadway.
Yeah.
I would love that. That would be fantastic. Will it happen? I mean, the chaos that would cause, could you imagine? I mean,
it would reinvigorate Broadway, actually. Quite honestly, I think it needs to happen.
The folks at the premiere were rabidly excited to see them saunter by because they are just magnanimous. But if they actually showed up at the Gershwin Theater to do a production of Wicked, I think the place would get torn apart. I think people would be going nuts.
I think it's going to happen. I think it's going to happen. I think that Broadway is dying and it needs something. It needs something to wake it back up.
Oh, but Wicked's not. It's still sold out every night.
Wicked is, those things are an exception, but like Disney came in and saved Broadway for, in the 90s, and it's on its way back to shady. I mean, it's not pornography, but it's weed stores, and it's like weird hustlers and costume characters. We just need to bring
back Giuliani, and then he'll fix it all again.
Sure, that's what we need. We need more of the jewels.
Do you know what we actually need more of? We need more productions like The Woodsman. We need more quiet, thoughtful, affordable.
No Quiet Productions with Hell's Kitchens next door. Patti LuPone taught us that. if you got a quiet production, you're going to be hearing New York, concrete jungle.
I mean, you're saying that it's seedy. I can't imagine. I mean, The Warriors is going to be there, right? So, like,
I think it was just a concept album. I don't think
it's just a concept album.
It's not moving to Broadway. I think it was just a concept thing.
Probably wise.
Yeah.
The real problem with Broadway is it's become so expensive and out of reach for the average theater goer that you can't go and have a Broadway day anymore unless you have serious expendable income. And let's face it, less and less of us have that. So
yeah.
I think really, truly what's going to save Broadway is something more intimate and more affordable and more down to earth and more for the people.
The end of capitalism would help.
Yeah.
Quite a
bit. That would be great.
I think let's have a
socialist matriarchy utopia.
I think at the very least we will see a new tour of Wicked inspired by the movie with movie costumes, movie sets, movie arrangements. I think we will see a movie Wicked musical tour is what will happen.
I would love that.
And it won't happen for probably another 2 years because the second part's got to come out, obviously. But I totally.
Well, they're done filming though.
Sure.
They're done filming, so they can dismantle all that stuff. I think they kept a lot of it for the promo, for the press junket day. They set up all these beautiful sets for them to be interviewed on. So I think they'll keep it for that. And then, we have the wizarding experience in New York. Let's have some Wicked stuff we could walk through and look at the sets and costumes and things.
Yeah. I think that almost we would be better off if they didn't make a part 3 and part 4 and instead took it to like a mini series or like TV shows or something in the same world, but just like don't keep trying to milk big giant stories out of it because you're not going to be able to write 6 more Defying Gravities. I mean, you're just not going to be able to do it. So like why?
I don't know. Stephen Swartz is pretty prolific. I mean, look at his body of work. He's written so many wonderful
He's too busy
things.
eating pound cake.
There's too much pound cake to be eaten, Tori.
What if we get a Love Never Dies-esque musical sequel for Broadway?
Tori,
there's only one. Want it to be bad.
There's only one musical on Broadway that I want to see get a sequel. More than anything, and that's Sister Act, because Sister Act 2 would make a way better Broadway musical than Sister Act 1, and we're all just sleeping on Sister Act 2, and None Sense has 7 sequels, so if there is ever, none sell. I mean, they don't really, Sound of Music doesn't sell, but no one cares about the Sound of Music, people still love Whoopi, so as all I'm trying to say is that Sister Act 2, let's get that going. Because I don't need.
Hello. We got to make this happen. How do we do this? Call up everyone.
Ruby Shoes has got to give me a call.
Or Yellow Shoes.
Ruby Shoes. Yeah, not Yellow Shoes. Ruby Shoes. Yellow Shoes doesn't. I think. Does Yellow Shoes have it?
Sister Act is owned by Disney.
Is it Searchlight? Is it Fox? Is it
No, no. It was like Hollywood Pictures or something.
Was it? Oh, yeah. Okay. Yellow Shoes. Call me, baby. We got some Broadway to plan.
I mean, it's Touchstone. Yeah, it's Touchstone. It's on Disney Plus.
Touchstone. There we go. That's what it was. Yeah. Tori, you're a gem. I adore you. We're going to hang out. We're going to go see Wicked. Thanks for hanging out with us. And now the podcast is over, so everyone can stop listening. Everyone can go now.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
Thank you, Tori. You're the OZVlog everywhere, right?
Everywhere at TheOZVlog. Follow me. I've got a link tree and it's got all the links. And TikTok might get banned, so definitely check me out on Instagram and YouTube and
link tree is where it's at. I could have a website and Squarespace actively sponsors me, but I still have a link tree as my web. It's just so. It's just no one cares about. No one wants to go to your website and do things. Just shut up and just give me the link. Just shut up,
Dan. I would love some Disney Dan Flash games. On your website.
Well, I would too.
See what I can do. See what I can put together. Thanks, Tori. I appreciate you.
Thank you, guys.
Now everyone leave. Bye.
This has been a production of 710 Media.